Hola, minasan! Welcome back for another round of Tabletop Gaming. How y'all doing today? Welcome to the show. Coqui-san here. We're gonna open up today Campy Creatures. We're gonna take a good look at this game here. This is from Keymaster Games, designed by... Oh, the designer's name is not on here. Well, we'll find out when we crack open this whole thing. Uh, But basically, this is a deduction and bluffing game involving movie style monsters. You can see here, with the characters like the werewolf and the blob, for 2 to 5 players. It takes more than 20 or 30 minutes, but as you can see here, I haven't cracked this open yet, so we're gonna do a little unboxing. All right, so let's not waste too much time and let's get a look at this, see what the pieces are, and take a look at the rule book. Let's see here if I can get to. Here we go. Let's get our tried and true friend, Mr. Scissors. There we go. That's not good enough. There we go. All right. And here we are. So this was an interesting game that I found at one of the conventions that I went to. Which one was it? Was it PAX Unplug or was it Gen Con? Oh no, I think I might have picked this up at a store. The Complete Strategist in New York. I think I got that there. So here we are. And let's move this over. Here we go. All right. Let's see here. Doesn't want to open up. There we go. The inside looks really nice. Here's the inside. If we could see that. It's always cool when the inside boxes are like this, as you can see here. And this is a very nice artwork of classic movie monsters. We'll sit this right here. Okay. Now we have here this card called the Invader and the Vampire. Oh, I see. So this is supposed to be like a movie poster. So this is supposed to be a movie poster here, as you can see. It's really nice. And there's the Invader. Let's set that over there. Here is the Mad Scientist Handbook, How to Capture Mortals. So this explains to you, I guess this is the rule book officially. As we can see here. Yeah, this is the rule book. Gives us the introduction. We'll cover that. And then we got here tokens. Probably one for each creature. From what it looks like, like this was probably the blob up here. Because it looks like the blob, the eyeball matches that on the box, and so on. And then here we have a clashometer. So yeah, so the back here says the clashometer, and this is what it looks like here. Very interesting. Let's see. The contents is 1 board, 1 rule book, 5 creeples, player markers, 81 cards, and a whole lot of fun. That's cool. Okay. Then this must be the creeples. The good old classic meeples. As you can see here. Move that a little closer. Or is that coming from this direction? Let me get some of this glare off. Over here. There we go. A little bit more closer. How's that? There we go. Got some of that glare out. So yeah, the meeples with the be careful with the Dissacat that's in here. We'll take those out in a second. And here are the cards. There's 2 sets of cards here. You got the Campy creatures and the mortals. So there's 2 types of decks here. All right. I'm not sure if I'm going to go through all the cards, but we'll take a few examples here as we work through that. Let's crack these open and get a sample of what these cards look like. Aha, here it is. It's to the side. So, how are y'all doing out there? I hope you're all having a great time. I hope y'all, if you like board games and such, you know, don't hesitate to comment below and tell me what you think of board games. Especially this particular game as we go through it. If you're a big fan of Campy creatures, you know, let us know down below. So there's actually different types. This little pile here is the archaeologist. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 of these, like that. Okay, and then we have 6 cosmonauts. Very fascinated that they went with cosmonaut rather than astronaut, because this is a Soviet. It's a Soviet. The damsel. There's 2 of these. 1 teenager. And then there's 2 teenagers. Are there going to be 3 teenagers? Yes, there are. There's 3 teenagers. We have the engineer. Looks like a mad scientist. We have ourselves a mad scientist here. The hunter. Oh, nice. He must be from Night of the Living Dead. It's supposed to be from the classic Night of the Living Dead. And finally, the deep sea diver. So that's the mortals. Those are the mortals. I'll put you. Oh, is there any more in here, like underneath? No? Okay. And I really like how this box came in. It's got this nice little tray here, as you can see here, for the cards, and you could put the stuff over the cards. Let's move you over here out of the way. Alright, and let's see our Campy creatures. Let's see what our Campy creatures are. That wasn't too bad. I thought it was gonna take a while to go through that. There we go. Alright. Yeah. There we are. So we got the blob. Remember what I said in another show, you always pronounce the blob. The blob. You gotta like stretch it out, because that's what he does. He stretches things out. Discard a creature in hand to absorb its strength. So they got abilities on here, and I really love the monster movie fonts here. Very, very old school stuff, especially Universal Studio horror ones, like the swamp creature. Give the mortal you capture to another player. And I noticed that these are in numerical order for the most part. Oh, I see. So they repeat over. Okay, so we got the Invisible Man, the Mummy, the Invader, the Werewolf, the Vampire, and the Beast, King Kong himself, and the Kaiju. Oh, this is cool. We have the Kaiju, and then we have the Demogorgon, and then it seems like they repeat again. Yes, they do. So let me put these separately. Well, say just to see how many official copies we got here. There we go. The Demogorgon. Here's the blob. Okay, here we go. So there appears to be 5 copies of each of these cards. So here we go. As you can see here, we have 5 copies each. So it's a deck of we're talking a deck of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. There's 50 cards. Okay, so we've got a deck of 50 cards along with a deck of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Interesting, there's 31 cards. Or maybe I miscounted and it's actually 30. So this must be the score tracker then. So with these, so we got these decks going on here. We got these decks. Let's see how the rules work. Is there anything in the behind these guys here? No, it's just the same thing. Okay, the tokens on both sides here, as you can see, like this, and no difference. No matter which side you flip them on. So let's take a look at the quick start here, just so we could get a basic idea, and then we'll see what the game looks like if we set it up. Let me set it up. All right, quick start. Setup. Players choose a color and take a corresponding creeple. Player marker and hand of Campy creatures. Place player markers into the clashometer, and the clash-o-meter. Remove any mortals with a number in the top right corner that's higher than the player count. Shuffle the mortal deck. Oh, because this is a 2 to 5 player game, huh? Interesting. So, if it's 5, that means that you lose the vampire, the beast, and the kaiju. If you play with 5 players. That's the maximum number, huh? Okay. So if it was a 2-player game, then you would only play with the blob, the swamp creature, and the invisible man, and the Demogorgon. Everyone else goes away. So you're guaranteed a minimum of 4 cards to play, which will be the blob, the swamp creature, the invisible man, and the Demogorgon. So that's what you're guaranteed with in terms of monsters. If you were to play a 2-player game. Got it. Alright. And then you make a deck out of those. Alright. Each turn, you flip over mortals equal to the number of players. Everyone picks a creature from their hand and plays it face down. Once everyone has chosen, reveal the cards. Abilities on creature with red pip activate immediately from highest to lowest strength. Number 4, now the creature with the highest strength chooses which mortal will capture, the next highest, and so forth. Abilities on creatures with 2 pips activate when capturing a mortal. Played creatures and captured mortals remain face up in front of the player. Use the clash-o-meter to break any ties. To win, the round ends when 1 mortal can be revealed. Each player adds up their score and moves their creeple on the score tracker. Collect your creatures, shuffle all mortals back into the deck, and begin a new round. After the 3rd round, the player with the most points wins. Okay, I think I understand the basics. With this, so there's 3 rounds of play. Okay, use this track to keep track of your score, and you play 3 rounds. You use your creatures to capture the mortals, and then you get points for the mortals you capture. And then you move your creeples up the track for three rounds, and whoever's got the most points, which the maximum number is 40. 40 points is the highest. All right, so let's deep dive here with the rule book. Introduction. As a mad scientist, you are in need of precious mortals for your experiments. Nice. I am a mad scientist. Look no further. With this handy guide, you will be capturing them in no time. Be warned, Some mortals won't go down without a fight. Instead of getting your hands dirty, you'll want to use your campy creatures to do your bidding. Capture those valuable mortals, and you'll be on your way to becoming the next Dr. Frankenstein. That's actually correct. Dr. Frankenstein is 100% correct. These guys really did do their research. Frankenstein's monster is not named Frankenstein. The doctor who created the monster is named Frankenstein. Or is it Frankenstein, being that it's Europe. Alright. 5 player markers, 5 tokens for rounds. Okay. So let's crack these open here. First we have the Clash of Metal board, which we've established. Okay. Then we have the 5 player markers. Alright, so that establishes who we are. Let's move this. Okay. And let's count for everything. Let's move this. Alright. So we got our 5 tokens. These are our player markers. This is who we are as players. We're the blob or something. Alright, next up is the creeples. Here is the 5 creeples, which matches with the colors I see. Ah, wow, this thing is... Alright, fine. I don't need this. I don't need this. Here we go. Alright. So they correspond with a specific color. So here we go. Let's line that up properly. Here we are. And there. Alright. Throw that away. Next up is 5 creature decks, 10 cards each. Interesting. Okay, so when I did that separation, that was absolutely 100% correct. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, because I put the Gorgon at the end. So when I did the deck separation, those were 5 independent decks. So they're supposed to be 5 creature decks, just like I had put on display, which we, you know, you know. All right. So now it makes more sense why the Demogorgon exists, because it ensures that you have a deck of 4 cards to play with. You are ensured a deck of 4 cards because you, at minimum, if it was a 2-player game, because you can't have cards beyond 2 if you're beyond the number 2 if you're playing 2 players. So that's what the Demogorgon is for. So that's actually pretty good. That's a good game design. And finally, 31 mortal cards, which was the correct count. Oh, and finally, here are the 5 tokens for rounds. Here are the round tokens. Let me set that. There we go. Alright, and here's the 5 tokens. There we are. Here we go. Alright, put that to the side. Okay. Setup. Each player chooses a color and takes the corresponding player marker, creeper, and hand of campy creatures. So let's say, for me, let's do the walkthrough for the setup. Alright. We move these guys to the side here, and we'll do the blob because I like the blob. The blob is pretty cool. I like it. I like the way he kills people. I like the cut of his jib. Comment below and tell us what your favorite horror movie monster is. Here we go. Okay. Then we place the clash-o-meter. So let's put the clash-o-meter up. All right, like that. So let's just say this is my side. Okay. Okay. And here are my campy creatures. These are my campy creatures that I get to have. And the player who most recently watched the creature feature places their player marker at the top of the clash-o-meter. Let's see here. I'm not sure what that means, but what they mean by at the top. But moving clockwise, each player places theirs below the other. Oh, I get it. Like this. And you do it in order. Okay. Because they're going to move into the board itself as the game goes on. Okay. Moving clockwise, and then all creepers start at 0. For your first game, remove all Demogorgons from the creature decks. So that's in the first game. Prepare the mortals. Remove any cards from the mortal deck with a number in the top right corner that's higher than the player count. For example, remove all mortals with 4 and 5 plus for a 3-player game. All right. So just like you would do here. Let me see here. Oh, sorry. You keep all your campy creatures. It's the mortals that. Sorry, I misread that. You gotta pay attention. You got to pay attention. Says the comment section on YouTube. So here are the mortals. -1 for the diver. -3 for the hunter. Oh, I see. Okay, you see right up here. It says 4 plus. That's the, if you can see that, it's very, this is not very good. This should be a little bit more darker to be able to see the number. That should be a little bit more dark because I didn't see that. It's very gray and it's sitting on top of a white background. So I didn't even catch that. So let's remove this. Okay. So let's say we're doing 2 players. So we're gonna remove all that. Whoops! Oh no, my creature fell over. All right. We set that to the side, and we have the cards that are not 3 and up. Got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there's a total of 13 mortals here. Let me just double check that. Okay, good. The count is correct. All right. So here's our mortals. The mortals. All right. So that's what I know it's only one person, but that's what the setup would look like. I think we could put this right in here. Okay, and let me just do this so we can see what you can see what a 2-player setup looks like. Yep, this is correct. You should have all of this. Okay, here's your deck with your campy creature. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's what a 2-player game would look like as a setup. All right, we prepared the mortals. Okay. And then you put everything else back in the box, of course. So overview and goal. Everyone begins with the same creatures. Mortals are worth positive or negative points. Over the course of 3 rounds, players will send out creatures to try and capture different mortals based on what mortals are available. Players will secretly choose a creature from their hand, then reveal them all simultaneously. The player with the strongest creature usually gets first pick, but abilities can mix things up when the 3rd round ends. The player with the most points wins. Alright, so your creature cards are the heart of the game. Each player begins with the same hand of 9 creatures, so guessing when the opponent might play in a certain situation is key. Let's take a look at the anatomy of a card. So these are not a deck. This is your hand, basically. This is your hand, and you're going to be holding it up like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And with the Demogorgon, would make 10 if you include the Demogorgon. But you don't have to play the Demogorgon. But you should play the Demogorgon and have 10 cards. So you're always playing with the hand, and your deck is always the mortals. All right. So that's established. The rules are very well laid out. There hasn't been any trouble with the setup. It was very quick and very simple. Really like that. Very fast, very and to the point. All right. So we have the strength, which is up on the top left. Okay, the strength of the creatures ranges from 0 to 8, but weaker creatures can have stronger abilities when played at the right time. You have the name, which is the nice little movie thing, which is pretty cool. And then here's the ability: discard a creature card in hand to absorb its strength. And then you have your activation phase, ranges from 1 red pip to 2 red pip, which is right here on the bottom. And then over here to its left, you have the player icon, literally the word I. It says it right here. Your icon. So these are here to help remind you which Campy creatures, deck, play marker, and creeple you have. Okay, so it's a tracker. All right. It's a reminder tracker. So all creature abilities are explained in detail on page 9. Mad scientists should know their ABCs. Always be capturing. A, always. B, B, C, closing. Closing is for coffee's for capturers. Always be capturing. Always be closing. Then we have the mortal cards here. So let me grab a mortal card. All right. These precious mortals are who you want to capture since we're the bad guys. Colors are a little different. Red is good, blue's bad, and purple could be either. Gotcha. Standard mortals. These are worth the value on the card, which ranges from -3 to 6 points. So, like this deep sea diver here is a standard mortal. The more valuable a mortal is, the more rare it is in the deck. Watch out, those negative ones can really hurt. Oh, because they will subtract your points, your overall score. Then you have the teenagers, which have a count of 1, 2, and 3. Standard fare teenagers from horror films. Here we go. So teenagers are quite worthless on their own, but if you capture the most, you score a total of 7 points. Second most scores 4 points. The amount of teenagers on a card ranges from 1 to 3. The clash-o-meter breaks ties. So, as you can see here, it makes it very clear. Again, that's very good. It says 7 most and 4 for second most, which means that all of the players, if you only have, if you don't get the most, basically you get 7 points. So this is pretty typical in most card games like this. Where you would have a score of who gets first place and who gets second place, and first place would get the top score, and then the rest don't get anything. So you want to be careful when collecting teenagers, when capturing teenagers. If you can't guarantee being in first or second place, you could be wasting your time when you could be getting other characters, other mortals to bolster up your score. Where is the engineer? The engineer is in the deck, I guess. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here's the engineer. This is the engineer. Um, get that electric current right. These guys score differently depending on how many you have. If you end with an odd number of engineers, each scores -2 points. But if you end with an even number, each scores 3 points. Now that's an interesting mechanic. So if you have 2 engineers, you get 3 points. But if you have 1 engineer, you get -2 points. So you want to be very careful with the number of engineers. Interesting. So, and that's pretty much it overall, I guess. Alright. And then you have something like the Cosmonaut. Alright, so I guess the Cosmonaut is more straightforward. Or is the mortal card. Got it. So, the engineer and the teenagers are the only ones that are unique. Because they have unique scoring methods. These guys here, the deep sea diver, the hunter, the archaeologist, and the cosmonaut just only have 1 score. It's very straightforward. That's their and that's their scoring mechanism. Oh, and also the damsel, which has 6 points. So those are the standard ones because they only have 1 point listed on there, 1 score. 1 type of score listed on there, while the teenagers has a challenge mechanism between multiple players, and so does the engineer. So the teenagers and the engineer have a challenge system, a challenge mechanism that you got to meet requirements. If you meet the requirements, you get certain points out of it. So that's actually very good, very simple in game design. Very, very simple. It's not overly complicated. And the rules for the teenagers and the engineers is very simple and concise. So your turn of play, you would reveal your mortals. So reveal cards from the mortal deck equal to the number of players. So we would reveal 2 characters. So let's just say the diver and the hunter. So here's our 2 mortals. All right. So like that, for example, since we have 2 players here, we got two mortals out. Then you choose a creature, play simultaneously, take a card from the hand. So like, let's just say the blob, for example. Then you play it face down, just like that, and so does your opponent. Then all players will reveal their cards at once. So let's just say, for example, these 2 blobs were revealed, and creatures with the pip. In the bottom left, instantly activate their ability from highest to lowest. So let's say, for example, here I'll grab over here. Let's say it was the invader versus the blob. The invader gets to activate its effect first. Its effect says, capture 2 mortals if possible. Well, here's 2 mortals. He gets to take both of them, and with it a -4, if possible, because it is possible, and that would be it. So they give an example here because they have, and again, this is what I'm talking about. You want to have a nice little diagram explaining and how and then explaining in the diagram exactly what the cards are doing, what the things are doing. That's something that Lucidity didn't do very well with in its instruction booklets, in terms of pointing out how the mechanisms operate. So what they show here in this example, the vampire's ability would activate first, canceling the blob's ability. The blob's ability would now activate, but it was just drained of it by that sly vampire. So what does the vampire do? Let's see what the vampire's effect is. There we go. Negate the ability to the creature to your left. So the player on your left side, they can't activate their ability because of the vampire, which makes sense because vampires leech. They drain you. She basically sucked the blob's blood. So you won't get to use your ability. All right. Then you get the next. Then finally you capture your mortals. Players now capture mortals. The player with the highest strength creature chooses a mortal first, then the player with the second highest, and so forth. Creatures with the 2 pips activate when they capture a mortal. So remember, the strength is the top left card. Therefore, the invader gets to go first, and then the blob goes second. Okay, so in the example in this diagram here, this is how it's explained. The vampire at 6 strength captures first and takes the 2 teenagers, which is what was revealed up here. Okay, next the werewolf at 5 captures the cosmonaut, and since it has 2 bips, its ability activates. Let's read the werewolf's ability. Force the player to your right to discard a creature. Alright, so the player on my right side would discard a creature. And then stuck at 0, the blob is the last to capture and must take the hunter, which is a -3. This guy in the middle here. Captured mortals and creatures that have been played or discarded are kept face up in front of each player in 2 separate piles. So let's say so the invader took the 2 because of his effect, and there's no other creature out because of his effect. Well, since he had 4, he took the 2 creatures, so it sits up here. Sorry, I'm sorry, it's a little bit on the block side. So let me bring this down a little bit. Here we go. So here we are. So you put them in 2 piles like that. Okay. And face-up cards are considered public knowledge, and then you begin a new turn by revealing the next set of mortals. Alright? And then end of the round, which is where we're currently in. This is the first round. Alright? When only 1 mortal can be revealed, which means that the whole deck, mortal deck is depleted, the round ends. Players should total up their teenagers to see who scored the most and second most. Everyone can then tally up their points and move their creeple to their new score. So any teenagers that were captured, everybody counts for it for that first to get their score going, to see who gets the most and the second most, and then you calculate the rest, and that's when you start moving your creeple. So the hunter and the diver notwithstanding, let's say you got a teenager, you got the 7th most. So now you start moving. And you go 1, 2, 3. Here we go. And you start moving your creeple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just like that. Just like that. Okay. Gather all the mortals, shuffle them, and then rebuild the deck. So the mortal would come here to end the round. Then you grab, then you scoop up your hand of creepy creatures, and then you begin a new round. Okay. Once the 3rd round is scored, the player with the most points is the winner. If there is a tie, the tie player who is highest on the clash-o-meter wins. That's a little confusing. Well, okay, they're going to explain the clash-o-meter here. Okay. The clash-o-meter is your handy-dandy tiebreaker. A clash occurs when 2 or more players play the same creature or end on the same strength. The order of the board dictates who goes first with abilities or capturing in a tie. For players that clash, the player highest on the clash-o-meter gets priority, meaning whenever his creature activates or captures, he does so before the other tied players. The next highest player will go second, and so forth. In the case to the right, let's say pink, green, and red player each played the werewolf. The pink player would capture and activate his ability first, then the green, and then the red. They seem to forgot about the purple. I think that's an I don't know if that's deliberate or not, but as you can see here in this illustration, they did put purple up here, but they're talking about these three down here. At the end of the turn, the player who clashed and captured first moves to the bottom of the clashometer. If two or more players clash, or if there are two different clashes, only the player who captured first across all players who clashed moves to the bottom. In our example, pink would move to the bottom, while green and red would shift upwards. Ah! Oh, did they skip that part? Hold on. Preparation. Did I miss that? Yes, I did. It's in the illustration here. Because I put the deck there, but you're supposed to put this. These tokens. I missed that in the illustration. So the mortal deck doesn't go here. You actually put these guys. Because that's the order of your turn. That's how the order of your turn is determined, right here. Just like that. Got it. And then you put the meeples down here. Right down here at the starting point of the score. Okay, let me just reread this. Alright, the player who most recently played, I did read it, and I confused myself. I confused the creeples for the player marker. You put the player marker from top to bottom in order of below the others. Okay, and it's that marker that determines the turn order. That actually determines the turn order. There we go. Yeah. The order on the board. Okay. A clash occurs when two or more players play the same creature, or end on the same strength. That's the tiebreaker. The order on the board dictates who goes first with abilities or capturing a time. For the players that clash, the player highest on the clashometer gets priority. So the blob would get priority. So right here, what you see here, the blob gets priority over that one. Okay. Always gets the priority. Meaning, whenever his creature activates or captures, he does so before the other tied players. The next highest player will go second, and so forth. In the case to the right, this is what they're showing here. Pink, green, and red player each played the wolf. The pink player would capture and activate his ability first, then the green, and then the red. So now it makes more sense here, because I accidentally mistook these for the player for some dumb reason. So what they're saying here is that because the pink got to activate first, it got is at the top above these two, who are also tied. It gets to go first, and then these two go in that order, from top to bottom. And the player who got to clash first and capture first moves to the bottom of the clashometer. So this is to ensure that the leader of the game, I guess this is to ensure that the leader of the game starts last, and the player with the least number of points gets to go first. Well, it does say clashed and capture. Even if two or more players clash, or if there were two different clashes, only the player who captured first across all players who clashed moves to the bottom. Pink will move to the bottom, while green and red would shift upwards. So you got to clash and capture first, and you get moved to the bottom. And then ties with teens. Points are not shared if two or more players end the round with the same amount of teenagers. Use the clashometer to break ties for most or second most, and move the winner of the tie to the bottom after scoring teenagers. For example, if players are tied for the most teenagers, then whoever is highest on the class-o-meter among those players would score 7 points, and the next ties would score 4. And any other tie players would score none. The player who scored most in the tie would be moved to the bottom. Okay, so the whole point, and no matter what, the whole point is that whoever gets the most points would technically be the leader, and they would be put at the bottom, so they wouldn't get dibs first and extend their lead. The players with the least amount of points would have an opportunity themselves to score and get more points. So. Okay, and as for the Demogorgon, it says here the Demogorgon works as a micro expansion that slightly alters gameplay. Replace the Invisible Man with the Demogorgon in all games, so that would be the 2 card. Okay, so you don't have you're always going to have a hand of 9 cards, but you replace the Invisible Man, who's the 2 card, with the Demogorgon, who's also a 2 card. All right. And all creatures, and bring some pressure, luck, and hidden information to the mix. The mortal captured by the Demogorgon must be returned to the bottom of the deck. The player that looks at the top mortal and captures it face down, so only the player knows what mortal he received. And it's got some variants here. Round scoring for 2 or 3 player games use the included tokens to count round wins. Total your scores after a round. The player with the highest takes a token. First 2 tokens or 3 tokens for longer 2-player games wins. Use and adjust the clash-o-meter to break round ties. I don't think that's necessary. But a nice little addition there. And memory focused. After a creature is played or discarded, place it face down into your discard. I wonder why. So yeah, this is actually a fun sounding game. It was very simple. I messed up on my part there because I misread the creeples for the player marker when I read the setup. This is where your player marker is supposed to be, and this determines your turn order, and those who score the most would go down to the bottom. It's just very straightforward. The instruction booklet was very easy to follow. I really appreciate that they diagrammed the turn sequence and showing you what all the cards do with each step. This was something that Lucidity actually lacked. It really was missing that, and they really broke down very well, especially here with the mortals, while using the diagram, using these examples on how these particular cards work. So it circles back to here, so that way you can actually understand the scoring mechanisms, how the effects work, how to read everything. The very good instruction booklet, and this looks like a very fun game to play, and I would like to try that out. If I had somebody to play with. Once I find someone to play with, of course. So that is Campy Creatures. Very well done with the beautiful aesthetic look, calling it a handbook and everything. Very thematic. This is a very, very thematic look to it. Really good. I like the movie poster approach to it. Yeah, man. Yeah, this is definitely cool. So that's it. Thank you all for joining me. Yeah, like I said, comment down below and just tell me what you think of. Let us all know what you think. What's your favorite movie character? What you think of the creepy call is? Your thoughts on the game, and who's your favorite movie monster? So with all that said, I wish you all I thank you all for joining me, and I wish you all a good night, a buenas noches, and oyasumi nasai.